I'm sick and tired of it. I'm straight up sick and tired of late in ball games when it's a great game. And let me add this. It was an outstanding game up to this point. Arguably one of the best Super Bowls I've ever watched. And we ruined it by throwing that terrible flag. Like, seriously, come on. Are we really about to determine the Super Bowl champion off of that? Let me open up this video by saying this. I have a question for all of you. Where do you want me to start with this? I'm going to let you know up front, more than likely all throughout this video, I'm going to be all over the place because this is my raw reaction. This just happened. As a matter of fact, I'll say we start out with this because it gives you a good point. On Twitter, I tweeted it out and I was tweeting a little during the end of the game. I said 100 likes and I make a video right now exposing how rigged and scripted the NFL is. Shaking my head, this pisses me off and I don't even have a horse in the race. You guys absolutely crushed that tweet. We got 100 likes in like 7 minutes. I probably should have set the goal at 200 or 300, but it doesn't matter. We're making the video. Whenever I tweet out something like that where I set a like goal, I just do that so I know that people want to see a video on a certain topic. And oh yeah, by the way, we're not doing no corny intro, none of that. It's simple. I know why you're here. You know why you're here. We got to talk about the Super Bowl and more importantly, the NFL being rigged. Now I know we're going to have some new people come to the channel. As always, welcome. Consider joining our amazing football community. But for those of you that aren't new and you've been watching the videos, we've been talking about this for weeks now. We made a video right after the Chiefs and Bengals game talking about how that one was scripted and rigged as well. I'm not going to go over those videos. If you haven't seen them, go check them out for yourself. But what is the one thing I've told you guys time after time after time? I've told you guys, I don't believe you can script an entire NFL season. It's not possible. You can't script out 17 NFL regular season games. However, with that being said, you can script out a close game because all it takes is for 1 or 2 calls to go a certain team's way. Have you noticed something? You're never and rarely ever going to see bad calls and blowouts. When you see the bad calls, well, you know when games are close. The reason for that? Fairly simple. I told you guys Roger Goodell or the higher ups, whoever you want to blame as to why the NFL is rigged, they're telling these refs, hey, if the game's close, give, in this case and scenario, the Chiefs a call here and there. But if it's a blowout, don't give them a call because we don't want to make it obvious. There's no reason to give the Chiefs a call if it's a blowout because it doesn't matter. And oh yeah, I just thought about this. How ironic the last 2 games we talked about the NFL being rigged involved the Chiefs. Come on guys, it's not rocket science. It looks better for the league, the NFL, for the Chiefs to continue to go to Super Bowls, continue to make deep playoff runs, and continue to win Super Bowls. Why? Because the NFL needs a dynasty. The Patriots dynasty is over. Now the NFL wants the Chiefs to take over their throne in place. I know what some of you may be sitting there saying, okay Matt, why does the NFL need a dynasty? The reason for that is fairly simple. It's the same reason for superhero movies. You gotta have a villain. The NFL wants the Chiefs to be that villain because they want people to tune in just to root against them. Have you guys ever heard the quote and phrase that your haters are your biggest fans? That's why. More people are gonna tune into Chiefs games from here on out just to root against them and watch them lose than to actually root for them to win. It's the same thing with Alabama football. It's great for college football that Alabama has gone on this dominating run because now you got everybody tuning in rooting for them to lose. The NFL doesn't want a new team winning the Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl every year. They want to have that team that everyone can root against. And going back to this, the Super Bowl wouldn't have got high ratings if Cincinnati and the Eagles would have played in the game. Why is that? Because Cincinnati and the Eagles, most people like them. There's no villain role, and I think you get my point on that. I could continue to go on and on and on, talk all about what happened in the regular season, talk more about the playoffs, but let's get down to the nitty and gritty and what happened in this game. First things first, I got to give you my perspective so you understand where I'm coming from. No, I'm not a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I know there's going to be a lot of people trying to say, oh, you're just crying because your team lost. Fun fact for you, your boy Matt doesn't have a favorite team in the NFL. I'm as unbiased as it gets. Yes, that's right, you heard me correctly. I like watching the NFL, but I don't have a favorite team. I just like watching football, period, the end. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I just go for Alabama players. I just like to see my former Alabama players do well because I know a lot of these guys. So I want y'all to understand that there is none of this, oh, you're being a crybaby fan because your team lost. No. I'm pissed off because I'm a football fan. I like watching great football, and I watch the team get completely screwed over on the biggest stage in America. I think I speak for everybody when I say this. I'm beyond sick and tired of refs feeling like they're actually playing in the Super Bowl. It really seems like these refs almost feel like late in the game, they need to make a play. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm straight up sick and tired of late in ball games when it's a great game. And let me add this. It was an outstanding game up to this point, arguably one of the best Super Bowls I've ever watched, and we ruined it by throwing that terrible flag. I mean, that really killed my mood for tonight, and it really killed the whole game. Like, seriously, come on, are we really about to determine the Super Bowl champion off of that? And once again, it all goes back to this: the ref wants to feel like he's important. To the refs out there, I mean this in the most respectful way possible, and if you want to take it disrespectfully, I don't care. You're not important. You're not important whatsoever. Nobody cares about you. Nobody's wearing your jersey in the stands. You are there to call flags. Or not call flags, but you're there to throw flags and call penalties. And before I go on a tangent, because I am about to go on a rant on tangent, let me add this in there. I get it. They're gonna miss calls here and there. They're humans just like me and you. Nobody's perfect. Am I saying I expect refs to call a perfect game 99.9% of the time? No, I'm not. But what I am saying is, late in the game, whether it's a basketball game or a football game, let the guys play. I want to see the football game be settled between football players, not a ref. So in my humble opinion, as a former athlete myself, unless it's some egregious foul or an egregious penalty, let them play, no call. And I feel like this is an unwritten rule. Let me give you a different perspective so you can understand it slightly better. I'm sure some of you have went to the park and you played basketball. Let's say you're playing to 15. Well, let's also say the score is 4-2 and somebody reaches in on you and it's a nitpicky foul, but you call it. However, if it's later in the game, it's 13-14 and you call a nitpicky foul at the park, what normally happens? People go crazy. The guys on defense are like, no, you can't call that. You got to shoot for it. You see what I'm saying? Most people understand this. You don't want to see the end of the game end on some ticky-tacky play. Now, let me show you this play. I can't show you the actual play because the NFL will come over here and strike down my channel faster than you know what, but I'm going to show you some pictures and I'll just show you it. Okay, Nerd Matt in the building. I'm going to analyze this with you frame by frame. Frame number one, as you can see here, this is Juju Smith-Schuster and Bradbury. Yes, I believe that's Bradbury. Juju is about to cut up the field, and Bradbury is about to try to stick with him. As you can see here, as Juju is starting to cut up the field, Bradbury, yes, he does put his left arm around his hip. But here is the thing and the key part about this. He didn't restrict him from running, and he took his hand off almost, 0.05 seconds later? When Bradbury realized, hey, if I continue to hold him, they're going to call a flag, he let go, and there is no contact whatsoever after that. Throwing that flag in the biggest game on earth is nothing less than Bush League. That is a Bush League call. That is one of those calls, if you called that back in the day, when I used to play outside with my boys or at the park, we got to fight over that. If you're the wide receiver and you were trying to say, hey, Matt was holding me on that play, no, you lost your mind. We are not giving that to you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain the magnitude of this. That right there, what you're looking at, that is a terrible call in the first quarter. The fact it was called in the fourth quarter on the last drive of the game, just inexplicable. Here's something crazy too. I'm just taking a look at this. As to when I'm speaking, and I'm sure this number is going to go up by the second, 148,000 people have tweeted about the refs, and it's trending in the United States. Also, Rigged is trending in the United States with 15.9 thousand tweets. I'm telling you, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I am the last person to believe in conspiracy theories, but the older I've gotten, the more matured, I'm starting to have the conversations. I'm starting to open up my mind, and the greatest part about all this is, I think a lot of people out there as well. I could sit up here for the next 30 minutes and blah, 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 jibber jabber. Long story short, the refs ruined the game. And what makes this even more terrible is, and I really haven't even thought about this up to this point, Jalen Hurts played out of his mind, and he lost. I don't have anything else to say besides I think this is straight up piss poor. Calling that at the end of the game on the last drive in the biggest game of the year, it is piss poor. Last but not least, I'm going to say this. Let me know your thoughts down below. We may make a part 2 of this tomorrow. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see a part 2, but I'm going to say this. I think under 5 minutes to go, not in the first, second, or third quarter, but under 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, no flags can be thrown. Yeah, that's right. You heard me correctly. And I know what some of you are about to say. Well, Matt, what if they completely plow a wide receiver? What if they hold him? What if they do this, do that? I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because at least at that point, when we say no flags can be thrown, the players will settle the game. I want you to sit up here and try to tell me in the comment section, try to rationalize how throwing flags would be better than not throwing flags. Under 5 minutes to go, no flags, no penalties, just straight up a bloodbath. Would it be a flawed system? Yes, of course it would be a flawed system. It'd also be controversial, but so is this. This Super Bowl champion, the Kansas City Chiefs, much respect to all those guys. I know they put in a ton of work, but this is the biggest Super Bowl joke, championship, whatever you want to call it, I've ever seen. This Super Bowl run the Chiefs just went on is a straight up joke. I don't take it serious. Last but not least, and this is the real last but not least before I end off this video, I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, I hate the NFL, I'm never watching again like most people do on Twitter, because that's a straight up lie. I am going to watch the NFL. It is entertaining. However, key word, and we already talked about this, entertaining. The NFL is nothing more than the WWE. It's entertainment. That's all it is, and that's all it ever will be. Let me know your thoughts down below. But,